Taysom Hill will be 34 when the season starts. When do the Saints have to start being concerned with his age, considering he is more of a running back / tight end than a quarterback? Players typically start declining in their late 20s, early 30s at those positions.
I have no idea what the answer to this question is because Taysom Hill is such a unicorn. He started his NFL career at age 30, I think. He had all those injuries in college. He's been mostly healthy in his career. And he gets to our woe every single year. He only gets like 100 touches a year anyway. So he's not getting the wear and tear on his body. Could he play till he's 40 if he's only going to get, single-digit touches every game? We did actually see a slight decline in his rushing average after he averaged 5.3, 5.8, 5.3, 5.3, and then a career-high 6.0 yards per carry in 2022. He plummeted to a career-low 5.0 yards per carry last year. 5.0 yards per carry, the worst of his career as a 33-year-old last year. And a guy who has averaged more than 5 yards a carry every year of his career needs to touch the ball more. But, obviously there could be decline at some point. It's fair to ask. It's fair to wonder. And we've talked about $10 million a year. I don't know how much longer the Saints are going to keep paying that. But I'm very fascinated to see what this new offensive minds have in store for him. And we'll have a lot better feel after we see what they do with him if we think they're going to keep this up beyond this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just said it. Like, the lack of touches kind of changes the aging process. The other thing is he came in the league, he was 27. He was a little bit older coming in the league. So he didn't have the college hits. He didn't have as many pro hits. So, I mean, I think he's going to age. Like, I think he's at an aging point naturally where you kind of got to start looking at it a little bit. And when you lose a little bit on the tread on the wheels, like, I think, that affects you a little bit too. So, yeah, it's definitely something that damn, you won the you won the thing, 51%. I should have stopped talking.
Close it.
I should have read it like a politician, man. Stop the steal. Like just make sure we got out of here before you could win that, but you won it.
I stuffed the ballot box.
Yeah, but look, I think Taysom's overall aging process isn't going to be the same as a running back. It's not going to be the same as it because he just doesn't touch the ball as much. But yeah, I think like anyone, he's a hit away from, that change in his effectiveness. He wakes up one day and he's a little bit older. That changes his effectiveness. But if we were talking about him aging like a running back, like we're already past that point, like of concern. You're 4 years past it at this point. He's going to be 34. So yeah, it's interesting, but yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea how to answer it either.
I do think, I got to it at the end of my question. I do think this is a big year for him. I think he's almost like he's on a 1-year deal. He needs to prove that he is an important part of this offense. Otherwise, they're not paying him another $10 million next year when he's a year older, unless we really get excited. But I'm going to bring up my follow-up question off script here because this was very popular. It was asked in a lot of the Martin's questions the other day, and I didn't pick it, but I thought we might end up talking about it at some point. The Justin Fields trade, he goes for a 6th-rounder, which just stuns me because I get it that the league is not sold on him being a starting quarterback in the NFL. I get why the Saints didn't bring him in here to compete with Derek Carr. They've sold themselves on Derek Carr. But just from being the guys who cover Taysom Hill and seeing how effective his role that he's in as a runner, Justin Fields cost $6 million. Taysom Hill cost $10 million. Taysom Hill is going to turn 34 years old. Justin Fields is 25 years old. Like, would you take Justin Fields in the Taysom Hill role right now? And are you shocked that nobody wants to try that out in the NFL?
I wouldn't, because I think some of the stuff that Taysom has to do is at least be a believable blocker, at least be a believable threat at tight end, and I don't think Fields gives you that. Like, if he comes out, you know exactly what they're doing, and I think there's an element of knowing exactly what Taysom's doing, but when you start to act like you know what Taysom's doing, he's going to do something else to put you in a position of inferiority on defense, and you can create a mismatch. I don't know that. And look, I have no idea. Maybe Justin Fields would be an incredible blocker, but I don't know that. So I can't project that on a quarterback because I think Taysom's unique. I think he's a unicorn. So
no, I agree.
I think his ability to do some of that stuff is what makes him a thing, and it's a reason that there aren't 32 of them in the NFL. Right. I think there's a reason why there's one. We've seen other teams try to do it. Denver tried to do it. We've seen other teams roll it out there. The 49ers tried to do some stuff with Trey Lance, and they're the most creative team in the league, and they couldn't extrapolate it into like a major package because it was just too glaring of like, this is what we're going to do. And sometimes it's okay to line up and say, this is what we're going to do and go do it. But I think for that to be effective multiple times a game, like there has to be at least an element of deception, and you can take advantage of that if they try to cheat.
Well, no, look, and I'm thinking of it just in terms of the QB power and the read option plays alone, which sometimes are only 3 a game when they're not able to establish a run game. Taysom Hill obviously makes the money he makes because they have found value for him beyond that with the tight end role, sometimes receiver role, sometimes fullback role, sometimes special teams role. But man, even if it's just the place where he lines up at quarterback, I think it's immensely valuable. I feel like the Saints have underutilized it. I feel like the league kind of misses the boat on that a little bit. But
my other thing on that, though, is like if I'm Justin Fields, I'm not accepting
he doesn't want that. I know, I understand that.
Yeah.
But I would like my backup quarterback to be able to give me, like, as a bonus, you're a backup developmental quarterback. Maybe you'll compete all summer long with Russell Wilson or whoever, wherever else he might have wound up. But if you are my number 2 quarterback, I'm at least going to put 5 plays in the playbook for you to utilize what an asset you are. I was very surprised at how the league viewed him, but I've always been very surprised at how the league and analysts everywhere seem to undervalue Taysom Hill too. So
yeah, the Pittsburgh thing. I was watching ESPN the other day, and like they spent like an hour straight just on the Pittsburgh quarterback controversy. Like that is going to be a fascinating situation. It's going to be loud. Like Tomlin's he's got a job to do to make sure that doesn't become a distraction. I know they're out there saying Russell Wilson's the starter and all that, but like I don't buy it yet. Like,
it is. Look, we talked about this for years and years. Teams will sign, like, obviously everyone's disappointed in the Saints are going to have the competition between Hayner and Peterman, but like Easton Stick re-signed as the backup for the Chargers, and it just kind of is quiet, and there's over the years there's been lots of talk about why not bring in this more famous backup. Ryan Tannehill still out there without a job. And there is something too, like the element of people wanting to call for the backup is something teams are very leery about doing.
They are. But look, if I was a fan of a team and I don't have the surefire answer at quarterback, I would love what the Steelers are doing right now. Because like it's
they
at
got
least
them so cheap, the 2 of them.
And they might bust on both, but like at least there's a possibility. And you're just kind of bringing it in, and it's like we're going to throw everything at this. And okay, if it works, then great. If it doesn't, cost a 6th-round pick and $1.2 million. Like there's really no downside to their situation. And if you have a bad quarterback situation, and I don't think they have a good quarterback situation, not yet until somebody answers it, but like that is the best of a bad situation, I think. And you can at least be excited about it. But it is going to be loud and it is going to be distracting, and there are going to be hurt feelings. And we saw that happen with I think the way the Taysom and Jameis thing shook out. There were a lot of people that watched that and thought like, Jameis shouldn't have been put through that or anything like that. So there's downsides to it all the time, but if you're a fan of a team, like that's you want to look at it and say you want to, because even if it doesn't work out right now, March 20th, it's like, well, Russell could do all this, and man, Justin Fields, like if he figures this out and they build it right and all that, like there's a lot of things that you can convince yourself into liking about that, even if it doesn't work. But at least there's a possibility. So I like what they're doing. I like how and it costs nothing, like nothing at all. So.